Yo, what's going on YouTube? Back here with another banger video. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing why Bobby Brown was actually a superior fighter to Johnny Lawrence in The Karate Kid, and if Bobby would have beat Daniel if they fought in a fair fight. So without further ado, before I get into the video, I want to shout out my Discord server, link in the description below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So in the original Karate Kid, it is shown that Johnny is just known to be the strongest Cobra and kind of the leader of the Cobras. But we actually never see the Cobras fight each other, so we never really know who is actually the strongest. We just assume that it's Johnny from his point in the story. But obviously, in the tournament at the end of the movie, Daniel was injured by Bobby. And this is because Kreese gave him the order to take Daniel out of commission. But we obviously see Bobby throughout the movie kind of showing a little bit of light, even though he is in the villainous dojo Cobra Kai. We do see him kind of rejecting the strike first, strike hard, no mercy philosophy. Our first example is in the Halloween fight, when Johnny is like, get him up, and Bobby's like, he's had enough, man. That was our first look at why Bobby's a little bit different from the rest of the Cobras. He actually is kind of good. He's not just trying to beat everyone up. And then in the tournament, Kreese demands him to injure Daniel, and Bobby is hesitant. He's like, I can take this guy. We'll get back to that later. But when Bobby actually does follow Kreese's orders and injures Daniel, we see that he actually is deeply apologetic, and he didn't want to do it. Kreese made him do it. Cobra Kai made him do it. So you have this difference between Bobby and Johnny right away, that Bobby isn't just fully cruel, as where Johnny just did not care what happened to Daniel until the very end, where he kind of saw through Kreese's evil, and after he lost, he accepted it, and he was like, Daniel, you're alright, man. But that happened all the way after he lost. Daniel felt apologetic when he was beating Daniel during the Halloween fight and during the tournament. When he was beating Daniel, he still felt apologetic, whereas Johnny felt apologetic after he lost when he realized his error in his ways. Bobby knew the error in his ways from before that. So we have the differences between Johnny and Bobby, obviously, in the mental aspect. But what about the physical aspect? Well, the only thing we can really base these two characters' physical abilities on is that they both fought Daniel and how they fared against him. And obviously we're going to use how they fared against him in the tournament, because that was Daniel at his peak, and that was when they both fought him. But the struggle is that Johnny fought Daniel when he was severely injured, and Bobby only fought Daniel for a single point. So we didn't really get to see that much fighting from Bobby, and Johnny was fighting a weakened Daniel. So we really never can see who is the superior fighter, which is amazing. By the way, I talked about this in my video a couple days ago, maybe a week ago. Why the Cobra Kai writers are genius. Go check that out if you haven't. But anyway, basically in that video, I discussed how the Cobra Kai writers, they make the fights very unpredictable, and they make it so that some characters are usually injured or they're holding back or whatnot, so that fans will debate who is the superior fighter, which is obviously happening right now. So we never really can know, but we can take a little bit of evidence from the fights. So let's go through Bobby's fight first, because it actually happened first. So in the fight, Bobby said he could take this guy to Kreese when Kreese told him to take him out of commission. But Bobby was very confident. He was like, I can take this guy. There was no doubt in Bobby's mind that he could beat Daniel. Unlike when Johnny, I would argue that Johnny was a little more nervous than Bobby was when Johnny stepped on the mat to fight Daniel for their match. So I think right away, Bobby was just more confident against fighting Daniel. And then when they actually started to fight, the first move Bobby did was a precision leg kick, hit Daniel in the back of the kneecap, and practically disabled his leg for the rest of the tournament. And that was a precision kick. If you rewatch the footage, Daniel couldn't do anything to stop it. He just turned around and couldn't. He just had to take it. There was no block. There was no dodge Daniel could think of. And he just had to take it. And that just took Daniel out of commission right away. So Bobby basically just neffed him. Like, if that was a street fight, Bobby just won there. But we still have to go through Johnny's fight now. So Johnny is fighting an injured Daniel. So the fight begins, and Daniel scores 2 points right away. Now, this is kind of a little weird. Why is Daniel, a guy who barely has one leg, how is he getting 2 points on Johnny immediately? A little bit strange, but after that happens, Kreese talks to Johnny and he knocks some sense into him, and Johnny starts to fight with a little bit more ferocity, and he scores 2 points on Daniel. And then on the final point, Johnny ends up injuring Daniel's leg even further, which causes immense pain, and Daniel is now even more injured. But if you watch the movie, then you know what happens next, and Daniel ends up winning the fight with a crane kick. So if we really look at the analytics here, Daniel beat Johnny while severely injured, and Johnny had to injure him again, and Johnny still lost. Johnny had to fight dirty, and he still got beat. That is actually insane. So clearly we have Bobby, who basically took Daniel out with one kick, compared to Johnny, who could barely stand up against Daniel while he was injured. I mean, if Johnny didn't get the pep talk for Kreese, you could debate that Daniel could have 3-0'd him. That is a legit debate, I think. But obviously that didn't happen. But I think it's pretty clear that Bobby fared much better against Daniel, even though his fight was much shorter than Johnny. And I just think the way they approached Daniel, Bobby was much more confident. Johnny was a little more timid until obviously Kreese knocked some sense into him. It was like no mercy, sweep the leg. But yeah, I just think Bobby did much better than Johnny. And then when it comes to who would have truly won if it was a fair fight between Bobby and Daniel and Johnny and Daniel, like let's just say they encountered on the street, there's no points, no rule system, I really think Bobby is just going to if he uses that move on the street, Daniel's leg is practically paralyzed, and he can just beat down on him. Whereas Johnny versus Daniel, Johnny will probably rush in with his fury, and Daniel will probably just counter it with his Miyagi-Do. I honestly think in a street fight, it's not even close. I think Bobby would neff Johnny in a street fight. I think Bobby honestly has better technique. We see Bobby fight a couple times in the tournament, but obviously it's mainly focused on Johnny. But I really think, shown in their performances against Daniel, that Bobby is a clearly superior fighter than Johnny. So let me know in the comment section below whether this is a W take or not, that Bobby would beat Johnny in a street fight or in a tournament fight, whatever style you care. But let me know in the comments what you think of this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share, and once again, join my Discord server, link in the description again. And I will see you guys in the next one.